You guys want to do a cold start? This has been sitting since the fall. That's not good. That was my battery charger. What do I need power to the coil. And some crank. We got no crank. I don't think we have enough battery to make it go. Get that charge up. Here I got a fresh, brand new old battery in there. Here's the old battery. And this one should have a charge in it. Let's see what we get. We need that. Puts power to the coil. And I should probably prop you guys up so I have use of my hands. Watch out for the airplane. And this should crank it, and hopefully it's in neutral. Like a kitten. See if it gets a prime for fuel though. Yeah, it is. I'll let that warm up a minute. We'll back this sucker out. Let's see if we can get it out of the cave. Now that's gonna be a tight turn. I gotta do about a 16-point turn. I'll bring you back when we're straightened out. Let's go get her. I always go for the key to shut it off. That's not going to do anything. There, now we're off. So I'm going to transfer some of the junk out of here, rearrange the tent garage a little bit, and get her up on the lift. Well, there we go. All the junk's out of it. It's up on the lift. And I've been just kind of walking around a little bit, trying to remind myself where I left off. I believe I was done, or close to being done, chasing all the metal work on it. Those are kind of picking up. It was pretty bad. Wherever there was Bondo, there's pretty much nothing behind it. The bottom of the windshield was gone. The apron, front apron, was wiped out. That's all new. Bottom of the gates. A bunch of framework was done. Floors were put in. You see the gates here where the gates have been patched. The same on the bottoms there, a couple of spots blown out, and I think on this one too. Yeah. So I think it's fairly stout as far as metal is concerned. Someone else did this patch panel down here, and it was horrible, but I did the best I can to kind of pull it out fairly straight again. And of course, this started out as a body shop. Somebody's forgotten project. It got pushed outside, so that's why you see all this raw rusted metal all over it, where they kind of half stripped it and scraped it, and then Mother Nature took over. I didn't bother taking all that off, because until I get to it, the more you do that, the more it's just going to rust up again and get thinner and thinner. So I'm just kind of running around where I see Bondo now, kind of hitting it with a magnet. don't mind the Bondo, but I want to make sure there's metal behind it. And this is never going to be a trailer queen, but I want a halfway decent driver. So I think we're pretty good. Yeah, as I said, I'm still going to go run around with a magnet and make sure everything that's metal is metal. And we could probably start tackling a panel at a time. Should probably do something with this, huh? That parting line. See, there's all new floors in it. And then I used Rust-Oleum to paint it. Just kind of brush painted it, but it evened itself out pretty good. But none of this was there. I made all these floors up out of just the corrugated patch panels that you get. And then you can see on that wall over there where I attached a stud welder to it and tried to pull that panel out as best as possible. Can't get in there. Then the front's all painted up. I don't remember if I did floors in the front or not. I forget. I just kind of cleaned all that stuff up. So, I guess it's to that most favorite part of the job, which is starting to sand stuff and spread Bondo to make it flat. And I'm probably just going to do a section at a time and work my way around. And then when I get bored from that section or frustrated, I'll move on. That kind of seems to be my MO on these things. So that may be the plan. So once I figure out where I'm going to start, I'll turn you back on. So I would say I may plan on working on this section first. All the upper stuff seems pretty good. It seems really smooth and flat. All the primer is, but you know, when you get down into here where all this hamburger is really messy. So I think for my mental health on this project, getting this kind of taken care of and cleaned up and, you know, getting some primer on it would help with the adrenaline to keep the rest of the project going. The one thing it has is the same issue on the other side, is that this parting bead normally would come all the way down, and of course it doesn't, and they went and just chopped it off and rotted off. So my thought is I'm probably going to want to try to do the body work and level that in, and then come back, cut the Bondo out of the center of it, dig it out with a wire wheel, weld in the piece, and then try to do my best to patch back up to that seam, just for the fact that I can sand kind of across it and try to get this piece and this piece level. I am no body man, and I make no claims whatsoever that I am, but again, just doing our best to learn as we go along. The rust that's on it, I'm going to come back with a flapper disc, I think, and we're going to try to dig out as much of that rust as possible. I'm not going to use like the rust killer and stuff on it. I don't think I'm going to go that route. I think I'm just going to try to get as much as I can out of it, as clean as possible, and then prep it from there. This vehicle is just, you know, littered with rust, and I am not going to get all of it out. It's just without sandblasting the vehicle down to nothing, it's just not going to happen. So I'm going to do the best with what I can. So delaying it anymore, I'm going to get some tooling out, and we'll get that cleaned up and bring you back when we get some of that, because not too many people are fond of the power tool noises. I am. I like it. So between wire wheeling and the flapper disc, we got that section kind of cleaned up, and I got a back pedal. I did end up putting acid on it to try to eat some of the cruds that are in the corners, but you still see the suds kind of running down. So I'll let that on there for a little bit, and I got to go back and neutralize that with some Werder and dry it off. This is what we're using. So we're going to let that kind of etch its way in there a little bit. It's kind of cupped up pretty good with 80 grit, and I went and I dug out all the little, you know, cubby holes and stuff that were in there that would push off in a later date. Again, this panel is far from perfect. I did not do it. I just did my best to help square it back off if you watch the other videos. But again, we're moving forward. As far as being flat, let's see how this works. So my biggest gap is probably going to be right in that area, but it doesn't look too bad. Probably around an eighth right there. There's a wall behind there. I tried putting a slide hammer on it with the welder studs. I wasn't able to get that any further out than that. So the whole panel has been heated and beat and over welded and stretched. I think that's kind of where I'm going to leave it. I think the more I mess with it, unless I just take it and slice that whole thing right off, start all over again and try it again, it would not benefit me to work on it anymore. And the patch panels that they sell only come to here. Not that I couldn't roll my own. Alright, so let that kind of kick for a little bit. I'm going to go back, rinse that off, and maybe start mixing some mud. That's the mud I'm using. I had it up on top of the heater for a while and then had to draw the oils to the top and mix it. But, I've used that stuff before, I kind of like it. I'm just using a cutting board, kitchen cutting board, and that was what we mixed it up on. And that's the mess we got going on right now. I'm just trying to build up material in where all the low spots are. I'm not even going to really care about sanding it. I'll probably just, you know, knock off those tits and that kind of thing. But just trying to put the material, pack it into where all the seams were, and that's kind of what I did to fill in all those little voids. And we'll let this kick, and I'll go over it one more time with another. And I'm going to keep trying to build the material up. Normally I would do is I'd do it, then I'd sand it down, do it, sand it down. I found that I was putting 95% of it on the floor. So I'm going to try attempting it a little differently this time by just getting the material built up and then shaping it to what I need. It's probably been about a half hour or so. I went over it with a heat gun, kind of helped cure it, hair dryer. And I decided to I want to give it a cuffing over the whole thing before I add over the top of it. So this is just screen for sheetrock when you're doing drywall. And what I like about it is it's got holes in it and it doesn't clog as easy, and if it does clog, you can come back on your gun and you can blow the crap out of it. So I kind of like it for this kind of stuff. And one of the things in the past that I've always kind of screwed up on was not prepping the surface that I was adding on to with enough scratches in it for the previous coat to kind of stick. So I'm going to try to make like a conscious effort. Make sure I do that. I say something like that. Good enough. Alright, mix up another coat. Spread it again. This is round 2. Mixed up a bit more. And did the old going on that way, drag it lengthwise, go back. I ended up mixing some plastic honey. And it makes it I don't want to say thinner, just the viscosity is easier. If you work it, it kind of it's more creamy of a material to work with. So still pretty lumpy, but it's starting to fill in the voids. You can still see. I can. You know, where the low spots need to be hit again. But this time I'm going to go and hit it with the heat gun, and then I'm probably going to take a a file and just start scraping it a little bit, and then it'll start giving some witness marks to where more and less material needs to go. And maybe I can start targeting certain areas. So now it's just going to be a bunch of this. And I believe what's happening is that you heat it up, so it's a two-part epoxy for the most part, and when it's a chemical reaction that has to happen between the two of them, and when it does, it generates heat. So you actually can help generate heat. It actually helps get it to kick in the colder weather, I find. So I'm just going to walk up and down it probably 5 minutes, sit on the chair here and put some heat back in the panel. Debating whether to pull that piece of tape off the top yet while it's kind of curing. Probably should. At least right to there. It's my boundaries I want to stay within. Try to. So, well, I'll go do that, and I'll turn you back on with something else exciting that's happening. So while I was waiting for that to flash over, I decided to kind of jump around, and I did. And I decided to start getting rid of the material on top and prepping this surface, and you know, we can kind of hit whatever little tidbits are open on this. I've been hand sanding the vents right now, and just orbital sanding with a pad. I think it was 80 and then 180. It's knocking the stuff off the outside, but I wouldn't come back with the wire wheel, and I'll get all inside those body lines, and let me see how far the wire wheel goes into these guys. It'll help clean them up some too. And then do the same thing. I'll acid, neutralize the acid with water. Then I went and I used, what did I use after that? I forget. Window cleaner. Then I sanded it again and wiped it down with water again, wiped it down with window cleaner again. That's all what was done on the bottom there. I think I'm forgetting a step. Oh well. So that's going to be the same plan for up here. It looks pretty straight though. Everything's nice and pretty decent on this side. This panel on the other side's got a bunch of waviness to it, but we'll take the one straight panel for what it is. It looks pretty decent. It's gonna look a lot better than what that is. Just a little one there, a little spot there, right there. Alright, so while that's doing, I'll save you again the noise. I gotta put some action footage in it though. Maybe I won't skip the noise. I warn you now, gonna make some noise. You got time to go grab your little volume button, turn it down. And those who like the sound, crank it up. But we're gonna make some noise. I see another hole popped up, but it kind of looks factory. I'm not sure what would go there. The lower hole is for a... That's for a side marker, those two holes. That one I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's There by Boo or there by purpose. You know what it is? I know what it's for. When the gate flips down, it's a rubber bumper. I wonder if it's mounted on the body there. Is there another one here? I'll be able to tell. So on Krusty, they're on the gate, not on the body. But maybe they're on the body on this one. Don't know. It's my best guess. I'm sticking to it. I still gotta wheel that out. That's for a bracket for the back bumper. And not too bad there. You continue to prep all that. Looks goofy when the line's not there. I can see something going on there too. Looks like it dips down a little, comes back up. Yep. All right, on to the next. Want to see what I'm going to be doing for the next forever? A bunch of this. So I'm going to do that for quite a while, and then see the spots that show up that need a little bit more favoritism from fill, and come back and hit it again. The fill is still a little too soft for the other paper I was using. It's clogging, so I went over to cheese grater, and that's just mounted on a block of wood. So knock down the highs with that. You impressed? I am. Wooden. So you can definitely see where it's coming off from and where it's not at all, you know. Those are the areas I'm gonna have to hit more. So I'm gonna do that and see how that works out for us. So I ended up taking a punch and just kind of whacking it. Both ass ends there to keep it from sliding from side to side, and then I tapered it a little on each side. And that seemed to work out pretty good. Getting a nice flat surface to try to, you know, knock down the highs. Yeah, that's pretty much what's done. Purdy, ain't it? Ready for paint. You can see I gotta come over all this a lot more. I'm popping through. It's low here, low here, here, here. And then probably skim coat the whole thing, but I'm probably gonna take a hammer right now. I might tap on that a little bit, see if I can kind of recess some of that. I don't want that being a problem in my future. Yeah, each time it's looking a little better on the application too. That looks pretty good. I got a nice even sweep all the way across the bottom, but that one in the middle, you know, you hit that speed bump, so you got to start and stop from there when you're spreading it. Happy with that. It's evening out pretty good for compared to what was underneath it, you know. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm probably going to block sand that out pretty good with some rough stuff and see how close it kind of comes into play, and then we'll start manipulating from there. I don't know how much I want to get. Like, I can see it's a little low right there. But right now, I'm going to go and neutralize that acid, clean that off, sand it, because I got to cuff it up anyway. And then what? I'll probably jump back to that at some point. But that's it. I want to start prepping this area while that's curing up and see where we go. Let's see if I can get that bend out of there. Probably should have done it before I spread on Bondo, but such is life, right? It's got, it ain't much. It's not much here. It's more on the bottom lip that you see the line getting deformed, but it is slightly there too. So I'm just going to try cranking up on it with the floor jack and a piece of wood right there and see if it'll play. Knock it off the lift. It's going to spring back a little too, I know. There it goes. It's not overdo it though. It is just a little bit more of a dimple right there. Let's go. You guys can remember it was right. Remember it was right there. Yeah. I think we want a little bit more concentrated. I think we want to go like right. Tug down with a pair of pliers on the lip just a little bit. I'd say top looks great. The bottom's got a little divot right here. I think I can pull that down with a pair of pliers. Yeah, you guys can't see, you're on the wrong angle. But not bad. Not too much on the floor. So you can still see where it's low. Out there. And then two spots in the underneath. Here and here. The rest of it looks like it's leveling out pretty good. You run your hand down it. It's the main line is pretty decent. I have to come up into here to catch this area. This is low, and then it right where the primer starts again is about where it's right. So that's got to kind of still get feathered into there, and then going up a little bit right into here is low. So that needs to be worked into that section. But I'll jump onto them when I start advancing forward on other sections. It's 36 and 80 that is handy. You can see 36 scratches on the bottom. The top is an 80 right now. I was getting there. Just Bondo takes, just takes so long. You get so little accomplished when you work on something for a long period of time. Metalwork, it's like, boom, done. You go from a rusted out hole to, and shiny metal. Bondo is just tedious. Still sanding. So I'll pick this up again tomorrow and we'll continue on. I already neutralized the metal in the back, and it doesn't have much any body work really in any of that, except for there's a ding in the ass end here somewhere. Right there, it needs to be knocked out somewhere else. Well, my light's flashing, so I'm going to wrap this one up here, guys. And again, thank you guys for watching, comment, subscribing. I'll see you later.